Hello, my name is Jennifer Rock, otherwise known as the Skin Nerd, and I'm here today. I'm very excited to be teaching all things skin. So there's lots of topics for us to discuss over the next few weeks. Please do comment below any questions. Our team will get back to you. Now, the first one I want to discuss is from the team, because what we're noticing in the nerd world is that there is a huge issue with overexfoliation. So we like to call it the epidemic of overexfoliation. Now, that might sound quite severe. I don't want you to conjure the image of redness and tenderness and so on. It's more that, thankfully, skincare has become such part and parcel of our days. People are really embracing it. They want to know about ingredients, how to use them morning and evening. And there's activity out there on shelves and products and in brands that have never been there before. But it's about making sure that we use them properly and correctly to get the ultimate goal of skin health. So if I think about what skin health should be, how do you know if you have healthy skin? First and foremost, when it comes to the skin's barrier, which is the top layer of the skin, is that it should look, ideally, when you've cleansed, there's a kind of a sheen to the skin. I don't mean a glow or an oil. I mean that there's almost an iridescence or a reflectant back. That would suggest that the skin, if you think about like tiles on the roof, you imagine that you've got tiles on a roof that are keeping everything in the same way the skin does. The objective is that they can, I suppose, defend against the elements as your skin is being asked to do day in, day out. If you're over exfoliating, if you're over cleansing, if you're over washing and taking too much of that oil from the surface of the skin, it can lead to, perhaps this is you, and don't beat yourself up because I'm going to teach you what to do and how to look after it. The reality is it can feel dull, dry, dehydrated, sensitized, dry patches, makeup doesn't adhere as well, and it tends to feed into this vicious cycle where we then tend to keep exfoliating to take the problem away, but actually the problem could be that we're over washing and not respecting the skin as the barrier and the organ that it is in the first place. Now, do not get me wrong, exfoliation is important because from 25 onwards we tend not to, our skin cells have got a little holiday. They're not exfoliating themselves like they once were. So from an anatomy and physiology perspective, it is okay to manually exfoliate the skin. There's many different ways to do this. So you might have heard of things like beta hydroxy acids, otherwise known as salicylic acid, ideal for anyone that has spot prone, blackhead prone skin. Myself. This comes in cleansers, it can come in toners, it comes in serums, but the reality is that it's only suited for those of us that have oil prone skin because it's what's called a keratolytic and it's oil soluble. Essentially meaning that you put it onto the skin, the acid, you don't feel it, it's like a liquid, you put it onto the skin, you rub, and when you remove it, it's mopped up all that extra oil, whether it's on the surface of the skin because you have that like glow of oil, or whether you have those little pesky bumps and lumps underneath the surface of the skin. Salicylic acid works for both, but using it every second or third night is sufficient, particularly if you're using something that has 2% salicylic acid, which is the highest legal level of salicylic acid that you can get on the EU market. It's also brilliant for the back of the arms, or if you get any bum knees or back knees. There ain't no secrets here. It is a reality. Many people get it, but it's an amazing tool to have in your skincare toolkit, I suppose, to bring in and out as you need it. Glycolic acid is ideal for those that aren't spot prone but are more dry, pigmented and feel their skin is dull because it's drier. So this isn't oil soluble, which is why it's better for the dry skin. This will help to slough off dead skin cells. Glycolic acid comes in, again, cleansers, toners, serums, but it's ensuring that you don't use those two ingredients together. It's also ensuring that you use them every couple of days as opposed to every single day. Think about the skin as the barrier and you don't want to keep taking away from it. If I brought my heart out, well, there'd be an issue. But if I brought my heart out as it were, we wouldn't keep stripping it back to repair it. If you see what I mean, the skin is something we need to give a little bit of TLC to. However, exfoliating from 25 onwards is needed, or oily skin can exfoliate from younger than that, but just not doing it to excess. The other acid that you might have heard a lot about is one that I definitely favour, and it is called lactic acid. Now, I feel like I know Cleopatra at this stage, I talk about her so much, but we know from the history books that Cleopatra is renowned for bathing in a bath of goat milk, which had lactic acid inside it. This is slightly larger in a molecule, so if you think about skincare, it's actually a science as opposed to more aesthetic and cosmetic. So lactic acid has a large molecule, meaning that when you put it onto the surface of the skin, it doesn't penetrate in as fast as the glycolic we just spoke about, but it means it's slower and it's more progressive whilst it's hydrating. Now, this is a news nerdy fact that I need you to bear in mind. You can have hydrated skin that is exfoliated. Associating exfoliation with that dry, taut, whistle clean skin is what we would encourage you to stop associating the link with. We really want you to think that your skin can be moist and hydrated and full and bouncy whilst having that exfoliation piece. Enzymatic tends to be the last way. You might have heard of papaya and bromelain, pineapple, etc. These enzymes are they're almost like little gobbles, or Pac-Men, if you will, that tend to, on the surface of the skin, to gobble up all the dead skin cells that are sitting superficially. These are quite respectful to the skin. They tend to work, as does lactic acid, for quite a sensitised skin. If there's any Celtic skin out there, know that we are quite prone to the sensitivity and the sensitisation, so they are great ones to bear in mind. Now, always read the bottle, always follow the manufacturer, but always listen to your skin. If you've used your salicylic acid every second night and you wake up the next day and you feel that it's slightly too taut, then pull it back to every third night. The same goes with your glycolic and your lactic and your enzymatic. So it's not that we're saying don't exfoliate, it's that we're saying do exfoliate. It's a needed piece from 25 onwards. In fact, when you don't exfoliate, you start to have the skin build up. It's called hyperkeratinization, perhaps a topic for an entirely different day. But you do want your skin to look dewy, fresh. You want to get the rest of your actives in. That's all perfect. However, doing it to excess can cause what we say at the start, the epidemic of overexfoliation, where we're actually feeding back into that dehydration we're actually so desperately trying to solve. So do exfoliate, be careful of the ingredient you choose. Hopefully now you've learned a little bit more about the exfoliants, the ingredients, and who they are best suited for. Do less is more, that's what they say. And the other piece, I suppose, is just to enjoy your skin, trial a product, really document it, make note about it, see how you're seeing a difference. And ingredients such as SPF are key when you're exfoliating regularly to shield the skin from the elements. Ingredients such as vitamin C, antioxidants, hyaluronic all give back to the skin. So whilst you're taking with your exfoliation, not too much, you always want to give back. It's like any relationship in life. So less is more. Exfoliate as you see fit. Choose the right ingredient for you. Leave the space of time between, as I suggested, and hopefully then you'll get the skin health you want while using active ingredients, not feeding into this epidemic of overexfoliation, yet literally, honestly, feeling good in your own skin. So that's it for today's segment. I look forward to seeing you soon. Any suggestions on topics, comment below. Any questions, comment below, and I'm sure my team will get back, because the skin is an organ. It can truly affect how you feel in yourself. There's a huge emotional piece of it, and it's our objective to empower you and educate you and enlighten you to know exactly what to do with your skincare. See you soon.